We have football. We have actual Dolphins football coming up. Finally, by the time this actual video goes out, it'll be for the game tomorrow. Miami Dolphins, Atlanta Falcons, after a week of practicing together, finally get to go out there. The one home game for the Miami Dolphins in preseason, the other two will be away. So the one opportunity. Don and I will be there. We mentioned this a couple of times after we met our fan. Shout out to Cat for Life. If you see us in public, if you see us at the game, I'm a rather large individual. He's a rather round individual. So you can you can easily spot us out if you see us. So if you do, come say hi. Don't be afraid. But we do, like I said, we do have actual football between the Dolphins and the Falcons, and it's preseason. You know what you get in preseason. You might get a little bit of starters. You might get a little bit of some actual football, actual NFL football. But going into a preseason game, the biggest talk is always who's going to play, who's not going to play. Donovan, what's your assumption of Dolphins players? What names first come to mind? Obviously, Waddle now with his injury. What guys are you looking at that the team is probably going to be holding out of this game?
Xavier Howard.
Yep.
Number one. Depending on how bad Cam Smith's injury is, because he's been practicing with it, but I'm not sure if they want him in a full game with it yet. Especially, like, he's kind of competing for that CB2 spot with Igbo. I'm curious to see if he gets held out or not. True Will, I'm interested to see. He just lost the red non-contact jersey today for the first time in training camp. So I'm curious to see if he plays. And then, obviously, I don't think Teron Armstead's playing. I don't think Connor Williams is playing. I don't think Christian Wilkins. I don't think Bradley Chubb. Maybe Jalen Phillips for like a couple snaps, if that. But those big name main guys, I don't anticipate. I am curious to see if Tua gets on the field. I wouldn't doubt that he goes on there for like 5 snaps, like one series or something, and just, calls it a day or one timeout or whatever. Just to like get a couple live reps.
Yeah, as a fan, obviously we'd love to see Tua play. We'd love to see some of these bigger guys play. But in the bigger picture of the season, in the bigger picture of Week 1 being a month away, those guys don't need the reps. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Teron Armstead, Christian Wilkins, all those big names on the team, they don't need those reps. What we're looking at as the biggest points of the game, I think the biggest one to look at is the quarterback competition for the number 2 spot. As of now, as of the depth chart that we saw yesterday, Mike White has that spot. Skylar Thompson, who was probably the best player in all of football last preseason. We can see if we can have that preseason wonder come back, kind of like Sam McGuavin every single year had absolutely fantastic preseason. We can see if that carries over from last year to this year for the 37-year-old Skylar Thompson, their 37-year-old second-year quarterback.
Oh my God, he's out here calling Skylar Thompson 37.
And Devon Achane's 5'6".
I was gonna say I'm not sure if that's worse than calling Devon Achane 5'6".
Dude, he's old. Obviously, I know he's not 37. Dude's old.
He's same age as Mike.
That's yeah, exactly. That's something that I'm very much intrigued to see. In terms of running backs, I don't think Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, either of them two, play at all.
Mostert's not playing.
Yeah, Mostert probably not playing. Devon Achane is still been beat up, so I doubt he gets out there. So is it going to be just 100% the Myles Gaskin, Savon Ahmed 2020 running it back?
Bro, I'm telling you.
The 2020 backfield, 2023 Week 1 preseason running it back.
You know what's funny that you mentioned that is that last preseason, they both, as a tandem, just dominated in the last preseason game to the point where they actually got Sony Michel cut from the team. Like, people forget, we had Sony Michel until the 3rd preseason game last year.
Yeah. I was
crazy.
I was a little surprised that he got cut. I thought Ahmed was going to get cut, and here he is a year later. I'm very excited to see those two guys because they might be battling for a roster spot. We know that Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and Achane, unless we bring in a Dalvin Cook, we bring in an Ezekiel Elliott, a Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, who's still out there.
I was just gonna say that.
Kareem Hunt, after allegedly signing with 2 different teams and still being a free agent somehow.
Dude, it's crazy.
So those guys are still on the board, and it definitely looks like the Dolphins want to get a running back. So I assume Mostert and Wilson will still be there if that doesn't happen. And so then you're looking at Gaskin and Ahmed for that last running back spot. So you have a backup quarterback race, you have a backup running back race. Wide receivers, I can see Cedric Wilson and Robbie Anderson potentially not playing, but it's more likely to be for the two of them. It's like one or two series, maybe 3 series for the both of them, because I think those two are kind of locks to make the team. You're kind of just battling for position. Wilson's only on the team because of his contract. It's not actually about his ability, but we know he's going to be there, so you might as well have him a full go. It's week 1 preseason. We want to be excited. We're excited to throw the jersey back on, be in Hard Rock Stadium. It's where you're so excited to be. I'm so sad that I'm not going to be there for the home opener. We both have season tickets. Somehow, I'm actually going to be at a Seattle Seahawks game during the Dolphins' first game of the season, first home game of the season.
I still, you keep telling me about how you're going to be in Seattle, and I still never, comprehend. You told me at least 3 times now. Yeah. It's just still, I don't remember why you're going to be in Seattle. I just know you're going to be in Seattle.
Yeah, me and my dad and my brother are going to be in Seattle, and when we did that,
right, yeah.
As soon as we're just going on vacation, and I was like, I brought it up 6 months ago. I'm like, could we see because originally the plan was to go in October or November and see a Trailblazers game in Oregon, because we're going to Washington and Oregon. So the plan was to see a Trailblazers game, but with Damian Lillard to be traded away, we're like, how much do we really want to go see a Trailblazers game unless they play the Warriors or somebody out there? But now, week 3, Seattle. Your boy's gonna be out there.
What matchups do you really want to see during the game? So not really matchups, but players you want to keep an eye on to see how well they do. For me, it'd be Eric Ezukam. I want to see how well he does if he plays. I want to see, because we've seen a little bit in practice, but I want to see in the game, live, full speed, how exactly he's grown as a player over a year. I'm curious to see the QB2 situation you mentioned earlier. Who's going to outperform who? I mean, we've seen Mike White have some dimes in practice, but then have some just absolutely asinine throws as well.
Yes, I can envision that. I don't think it's going to happen, but yes, I can envision that. I think he's going to end up staying as a Colt, but I can see Jonathan Taylor coming to the Dolphins, but then it will require giving up a first-round pick and then signing him to a long-term deal. And
I don't think he takes it
first, second, call it what you want. Definitely a first or a second, nothing less than that. I would have been more inclined to give that to Saquon than it would have been to Jonathan Taylor. I would have preferred. Do you think they played chosen during the preseason game? I think he gets a little bit of a run. Him, Ezukama, Cedric Wilson. Actually, Ezukama probably gets longer. Cedric Wilson and Robbie Anderson probably, I'd say they run 2, 3, 4 series with whoever ends up as the starter. We both are in agreement that we don't think Tua is going to play at all this game. However, it looks like it's going to be the first half probably Mike White, second half Skylar Thompson type of deal. They'd probably be getting the run as the ones. And even then, how long do they last as the ones? I'd say of the two, I think Robbie is the least likely to get time, and then Cedric Wilson, because he just still hasn't found his spot on the team. Cedric Wilson, Eric Ezukama, Braxton Berrios, River Craycraft, those are the guys who I think are going to be playing the majority of the game. So take Cedric actually out of Robbie Anderson. Probably plays a few series, and then the rest of those guys probably play a majority of the rest of the game, especially with Braylon Sanders going down.
Robbie what?
Robbie Anderson.
I believe his legal name is Robbie Chosen.
I don't care. I don't care.
But no, I'm in agreement with you there. I think the majority of the first 2 to.
Oh man, I got wet.
Sorry. Hey.
Then wipe it off my face. Continue. Don't let me Don't let me distract you, Big Danny. Sorry, what?
Oh my god. Ayo, pause.
Resume.
Anyways, resume. I think it's going to be Eric Ezukama, Robbie, Cedric. Braylon's not playing for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be mainly those guys and Craycraft, and I think there's going to be mainly those guys in the first half, and then the second half it's going to be I think Craycraft's going to play the entire game, and then I think it's going to be Freddie Swain, Chris Coleman, and we may even, I think maybe Ezukama gets in there for the entire game as well, just because he's so young and so raw.
Yeah, I want to see Ezukama out there because he has not defined himself a role. Like, yes, while we're very impressed with what he's done in preseason, or sorry, in the training camp so far, live reps, he has not done a lot in Hard Rock Stadium so far. We have not seen much of him. We saw some of him in the preseason last year. I think actually he got balled out by, or Braylon Sanders balled out even more than he did. Whereas at the point this is the guy we spent a draft pick on, and this undrafted free agent looks better than him. So, he still has a lot to prove in this offense.